I'm not sure how I find myself here in this trunk full of plants car situation, because the last haul video that I made, I'm pretty sure I said I was done buying for the 2024 garden season, but clearly I am not. So let's do a haul video. So you know how you go to the store and you only need 2 things, but somehow you come home with a whole cart full of things you didn't need? This is one of the 2 things that I had on my list, and the reason that I had to go to the nursery because I needed some more perennials. This is Glowstick kniphofia, and this is a perennial that I saw and fell in love with at the Ball Display Gardens in Chicago. I will insert a couple of clips of the kniphofia planted there. It's more mature. This is obviously a wee little baby, but the reason that I love this kniphofia is a few things. First off, this is a re-blooming kniphofia. And if you've ever planted kniphofia in your garden, you know that it's beautiful for a little while. And then once it's done blooming, it looks kind of raggedy and ugly. This kniphofia has a much longer bloom time because it is a re-blooming kniphofia. You can see here, there is one central bloom and then there are buds coming up behind it. So it extends the time that this looks good in your garden. And it's one of the reasons that I absolutely loved it. The other reason is because of this absolutely perfect shade of yellow. Some yellows I find to be too stark and too bright. The ones that kind of lean more of a yellowy orange, I have a hard time fitting that into my garden. I like to mix and match colors in my garden, and I find that this type of buttery yellow color is just a neutral. It goes with practically anything and it looks beautiful in so many different combinations. So I've been on the lookout for this perennial ever since I saw it at the Ball Gardens. And when I saw that they had this at Growers Outlet, even though Growers Outlet is 40 minutes away from me, I knew I had to run and add this to my garden because I have an intense fear of missing out, and this was just too pretty. I didn't want everybody else to snatch it up. So now that I bought my 3, know that Growers Outlet has these brand new Darwin Perennial Introduction kniphofia Glowstick in stock. So if you're local to Atlanta, go get you some. This next perennial is not in bloom right now, but it was the other reason why I needed to go to Growers Outlet. As you can see, this is the time of year where I'm bumping out my edges and I have space for some low growing perennials. And this is a really great low growing Rudbeckia. This is American Gold Rush Rudbeckia, and if you've grown Rudbeckia in the past and it's gotten all diseased and gross and you've yanked it out of your garden, this is one that you might want to try. American Gold Rush is supposed to be more disease resistant. It is also more of a compact front of the border variety, and it's got a gajillion blooms. I'm going to insert a clip from the Ball Trial Gardens. I think you can see why I absolutely had to have this in my garden. Rudbeckia is native to North America, so if you're looking to plant and add more natives into your garden, this is a great variety to try that is more disease resistant and won't give you those black, funky, ugly leaves like past varieties might have. And then these are the plants that somehow end up in your cart that you have absolutely no clue where you're going to put, but it was such a great deal that you couldn't pass it up. So I want to quickly tell you about them. This beautiful, beautiful butterfly bush is called Chrysalis Blue. It is a low-growing butterfly bush that's basically perennial size, so I don't think this one gets over 36 inches, or it might have even been 28 inches. If you've never planted butterfly bush in your garden before because you don't have room for this 6-foot giant monster, I have pugster butterfly growing in my garden and it stays under 3 feet. And it is a butterfly magnet. And also now I will have Chrysalis Blue growing. I have a budding butterfly scientist growing up in our household, and she absolutely loves looking and chasing after butterflies. So I couldn't pass this up. This plant was covered in butterflies at the nursery. And so when I saw that and I saw that it was only $5, I absolutely had to get this for my little Emily. And next up is a plant that I have killed time and time again. This is a variety of gaura. It is called Passionate Rainbow, which is the perfect name for this gorgeous gaura. I have killed gauras in the past because one of the things that I like to do in my garden is I will plant things and then over time I will rearrange, especially as I'm bumping out borders. My favorite thing to do is to kind of plant things a little bit too close so that my garden looks full and lush, and then I take over a little bit of the lawn at a time and I kind of bump everything out so I'm able to extend my garden with buying just a few more plants because everything fills in, it needs more space, so it's really easy to continuously bump out your garden little by little. But I will share with you, that is how I've killed my gaura every single time. I think this thing hates being transplanted. Gauras definitely like good drainage. So if you garden in a clay soil like I do, one of the things you're definitely going to want to do is add in some soil amendment or some gravel so that you're able to provide some more drainage for gaura. But once it's established, definitely don't move it. It is drought tolerant, it is long lived, but it does not like being moved. Gaura is a fabulous perennial for pollinators, but definitely don't move it once it's planted. Leave it be and it will probably be happier in your garden than it has been in mine. But I'm definitely ready to try again. I don't shy away from plants that I've killed over and over and over again, and I hope neither do you. Next up is this Shasta daisy. This is Sweet Daisy Birdy. This is a later blooming Shasta daisy variety, and if you find that you have holes in your garden around this time of year and some things are just kind of looking yeah, and you're looking for something that'll bloom a little bit later, definitely look into varieties that bloom later into the summer or early fall, like Sweet Daisy Birdy. I just got one of them because if you've ever planted Shasta daisies in your garden, these things tend to go crazy and go everywhere. So I'm going to give it room, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to divide this next year or the year after around my garden for more. This is definitely a value plant. So if you see this perennial, it's basically free because you're going to be able to spread it around your garden in no time. Last perennial is something that I'm not planting in my garden, but something that I did want to share with you. This is milkweed, and I have some milkweed growing in my garden for the monarch butterflies. This is a monarch host plant, and the monarch population is diminishing and dwindling. So planting milkweed in your garden will help support the monarch population. So I do love planting milkweed, but one thing that I do want to point out about it is that milkweed seems to be a trap crop for aphids. This isn't something that seems to impact the milkweed. Like, it just seems to do its thing with all of these aphids sucking everything out of it. And I just try to look past it, honestly. But if you are someone that hates seeing aphids, you might not like planting milkweed because I've never seen a milkweed plant without aphids on it. And I'm just being honest. What I like to do is plant milkweed away from things like roses that are also aphid magnets. And that way I plant something for monarchs. I did my good deed, but also I'm not worried about these aphids jumping on my roses and carrying any sort of diseases to my roses because that would drive me absolutely crazy. So this isn't going in my garden. This is going to a school garden, but I wanted to share that in case you've planted milkweed in the past or you're looking at adding milkweeds. Something to note is that they do attract aphids, and just plant it away from your roses and just don't look too closely at it. The butterflies will still love it, but the aphids will too. And that's it. That's my entire haul video. I think I still exercised a good amount of self-control, and I mostly stuck to my list. I do have a hard time saying no to perennials, especially good perennials, and these are all varieties that I'm really excited to plant. So I'll stop talking now and instead I'll start digging, and I'll update you as to how they're going in another video. Thanks for watching.